What's going on, West Coast Champs Nation? Today, we got a very special video for you. We got our COVID MLB season prediction video with me, the host, Gordon Ramsbottom, and our resident baseball expert, Nathaniel Richtiger. We got some good prediction video here for you guys today. I'm excited. I don't actually know what Nathan's got on the plate for us today. I'm going to be dishing out some questions for him to answer for this upcoming baseball season. Now we're going to see what he thinks is going to happen. So, Nathan, let's get started right off the bat. There's a good baseball pun there with the NL. We have obviously some great teams in the NL. Who do you think are going to be the powerhouses for this COVID season?
So the NL, I mean, we got some real powerhouses. We got the returning champion, Washington Nationals, who will be interesting to see what they do this year. But to start off with, let's start with the three division champions for this upcoming season. We will start in the Central. I have the Chicago Cubs making a return to the top of the division. I think this team's been riddled with injuries and inconsistencies, and in a shortened season, I think if they can get hot, that's a team that you don't want to face. In the NL East, we have again the Atlanta Braves, a team that has a ton of young talent. I know they had some scares with the virus, but all those guys are back in camp and suiting up, ready to go here in a few days. And finally, in the NL West, the returning NL West champions and the dominating team of the last few years, our hometown team, the Los Angeles Dodgers, led by the former MVP or the recent MVP and Cody Bellinger. The Dodgers will not slow down this year. They have souped their team up with that trade for Mookie Betts. Unfortunately, we will not see David Price this year due to the virus, but can't be mad, understand that. But the Dodgers are scarier than ever now with that 1-2 punch of Mookie and Cody. Besides the three division champs, I have two teams that I think could make runs if they get hot early in this shortened season. I think that the newly formed Cincinnati Reds, they made some big offseason moves. They went out and got Nick Castellanos, who I think is a great bat there. And they got some other outfielders from Japan. The only thing I see their issue being is maybe pitching. But if they can get hot, they might be able to go get some guys at the deadline moving forward into the playoffs. And a team that, man, it kills me to say this because they're a rival of the Dodgers, but the San Diego Padres. They were a 500 team-ish last year, and I think that another year for Fernando Tatis Jr., Manny Machado will have a bounce back here. I have no doubts about that. They have a bunch of young talent. They have talent to trade also, so they definitely have some room to make moves. But I think the Padres and the Reds are two teams that we should watch out for moving as the season goes along.
Those are definitely all some very good teams in the NL there. I'm excited to see how all five of those teams are going to do, especially the Reds. They got some interesting players, from a long ways away. So let's see how they do in the MLB. Now, kind of on the reverse side of this, is there any teams that you think that maybe might have a little fall from grace? Maybe they lost a few guys, maybe something happened. Which kind of teams are you looking to see if they can, come back from that?
Interesting that you say that. I actually think the team that has almost dominated in the last 2 to 3 years, another reigning MVP on their team in Christian Yelich, the Brewers are going to have a big fall this year. That team just did not make the moves in the offseason. Their offense, they're going to hit the ball. They're going to score some runs, but that pitching staff is atrocious. They really only have Josh Hader, and teams seem to be able to hit him now. So the Brewers could not – they may have a rough time there. One team that's really weird because on paper they're solid. They just can't seem to put it together is the Mets. They're going to have a full year of Marcus Stroman. And if everybody can stay healthy, they may have a shot. I think they could potentially be a wild card team. But with that being said, we all know the Mets. They're not going to make it. So that's a team that I think is just kind of like going to be bleh, and they're going to have to demolish that team with all the young talent on it, and we'll see what happens there in New York.
All right, so we kind of got a better look now, at what you think is going to happen, with some of these more interesting teams in the division, or excuse me, in the NL. Now to take even a little closer look into the NL, who do you think is going to be the NL MVP this year?
So the NL MVP this year is a young player who everybody seems to love, some have issues with, but definitely a talented player. He's coming out of the NL East from the champion Braves. It is going to be Ronald Acuna Jr. He is going to go absolutely bonkers. I think that the Braves have a real shot this year at making a deep run. Them and the Dodgers. So I think Acuna is going to be the key to this team moving forward. He's got all the talent. He made a lot of upgrades skill-wise, I think, last year, getting smarter at the plate and in the field. So Ronald Acuna Jr. is my NL MVP for this upcoming year.
I really like that pick. I think that actually could come to fruition. So we'll keep this prediction video in the bank just to look back on to see what we got right and stuff. So on the flip side of that, a player who might not necessarily be on the radar for MVP, but who can still have a good year. What about NL Comeback Player of the Year?
So my NL Comeback Player of the Year, a former MVP, he did not have a bad year last year. A lot of people gave him a bad rap last year, and his stat line wasn't that bad. But he's definitely going to be a player if his team is going to make a run at the division title. Another former MVP, Chris Bryant, guy with all the talent in the world, and we have seen it, but he is going to be the catalyst alongside Javi Baez if those Cubs are going to make a deep run in that Central Division that's kind of up in the air. So Chris Bryant, watch out. I think he could even be an NL MVP candidate if he plays to his potential like we've seen.
Definitely lots of good information on the NL. Let's go back over to the AL side and talk about them. How about your AL powerhouses for the COVID season?
So we will start in the West with the reigning AL League champion, the Astros, a team that everybody doesn't like right now. But they still have the pitching, even though they lost Garrett Cole. They still have some pitching, even though Roberto Osuna, for some reason, has not thrown. We don't know why, but that is a big hit in that bullpen. But that offense, trash can or not, it's loaded from top to bottom. But we'll see. We'll really see what that team's made of this year after all of the issues. The Central Division, I had the Twins winning. They had an amazing season last year. They didn't lose a lot. They made some upgrades this year. I see the Twins making another run for that division title. And the East, it is going to be a Yankees division again. That team is just going to – as of right now, they are very healthy with the exception of Severino. So I think that team is going to make a huge splash, and it's really my team to make it all the way to the World Series, actually. So those are my teams in their divisions. However, my sleeper teams in the American League, let's go to that West. The Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. I think that they have a shot to kind of mess with some teams. Definitely have a chance at that wild card. The AL West is more competitive than people think. And with the addition of Anthony Rendon, I think that they can definitely score some runs with that offense. But if they're in it, they definitely need to make a deal at the deadline and go out and get some pitching to help that starting rotation and bullpen. My other sleeper team is from the Central, and if this team gets hot, they could be very dangerous. A young team with a lot of young stars, a lot of first-year players coming up this year, the Chicago White Sox. We may have two Chicago teams in the playoffs for the first time in almost a decade. They excite me. I think of the next few years, they are the team that's going to rise to the top of the AL and could be very competitive.
All right, so kind of ended there on definitely an optimistic note, especially with the White Sox, who, me being a relatively casual fan, I do not remember the last time the White Sox were relevant, at least in the national stage. All right, so to dive a little bit deeper, just like we did with the NL, who do you predict is going to be the American League MVP for the COVID season?
I think you can't really choose other than this one guy, the greatest player in the game, Mike Trout. Regardless of if he sits out when his baby is born, this man is going to go off and he will win the AL MVP. No questions asked, no explanation needed.
Yeah, that one definitely seemed to be one of the more toss-up questions there, so I can't argue with that. But on the flip side, comeback player of the year for the American League?
My guy who's going to help the Yankees finally get to the World Series, Giancarlo Stanton, a guy who has a giant contract and has been riddled by injuries. I've seen him in the recent scrimmages, and oh my God, is he healthy and hitting that ball so far. If he can stay healthy and sit in that DH position, he is going to do a damage, and those Yankees are going to be hard to stop.
When he got traded, that was one of the more bigger trades from the last couple of years.
That was unreal.
Yeah,
when's the last time you saw a dude who had a $300 million contract get traded? Never. You will never see that again, except probably Manny Machado or Bryce Harper. But we'll talk about that when that comes around, because those teams may go downhill very fast, even though the Padres are my team to watch. Manny Machado is, we all know how he is. So, yeah, interesting year. I'm excited. I'm super excited to have baseball back, get some sports back playing here in the next few days. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we definitely are going to keep our eye on baseball throughout the shortened season, keep revisiting, these predictions and make new ones as well. So please stay tuned for some more baseball videos. Like and comment down below what you guys think is going to happen in the this shortened COVID baseball season. It's going to be crazy. I will definitely say it's going to be ridiculous. So we're going to see some stuff that I think has never happened before. So please subscribe if you aren't already.
Before we leave, one last thing I forgot. There will be a DH in the NL this year, which is the first time ever. So that's going to be absolutely crazy. I totally forgot about that. Don't forget that, guys. DH in the NL this year. The game is changing completely.
And just like that, we're already seeing stuff that we've never seen before. So it's already coming to fruition. Going to be very interesting, to say the least. So
definitely.
All right, West Coast Champs fans, please like and subscribe if you haven't already. Leave a comment below, like I already said. And besides that, have a good rest of your day.